Can you guys hear yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so. Are you ready to start?
Is everybody at a good volume?
Yeah.
Okay.
sorry. I'm turning mine down just a little bit.
Da-da-da.
Okay, I just want to preface that all of us are okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Authentic People podcast. My name is Maya,
And I'm Sade.
And I'm Donna.
and we are ran by the
I was going as soon as you started, so can we redo that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here, let it.
What is
mute it.
that? What's that? What is that?
I feel like it's just us guys. I feel
No,
I-
like there's static. Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
I hear it still, but I don't really care.
I hear it still too, but I think it's lucky fine. Okay, I can hear myself.
Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
3,
Okay.
2, 1.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Authentic People podcast. My name is Maya,
And I'm Sade.
And I'm Donna.
and we are ran by the Diversity and Equity Center. The Diversity and Equity Center is located in Black Hall 101. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. On Fridays, we close at 5. We aim to be a transformative, anti-oppressive center that disrupts white-dominant culture and inspires marginalized students to unapologetically take up space and be leaders and decision-makers of social change in our communities. We center the needs of students with marginalized identities, provide holistic student support, identity-based and cultural programs, and social justice workshops to cultivate a sense of belonging and community at Central Washington University.
And here at the deck, we have 2 affinity programs, one of which is called Thrive, and Thrive creates supportive and validating spaces for women of color to show up unapologetically as their full selves. We focus on developing leadership skills to support women of color students on campus, examining systems of power, privilege, and oppression as it relates to walk experiences, and building lasting relationships and connections. This is a great opportunity to connect with women of color across campus.
Our other affinity program is QFAM, and QFAM is a support program for LGBTQIA identifying students. They engage in study sessions, fun activities, identity exploration, community building, and forming connections with other LGBTQIA identifying faculty and staff across campus. Here at the DEC, we also offer 2 different programs, one of which is called Culture Corner, which is a place to foster discussion around socially relevant topics.
Another program we have is Find Your People, which is a space to collaborate with student organizations and clubs around campus to facilitate community building opportunities around certain identities. Past Find Your People events have included First Time in College, LGBTQ, BIPOC, bisexual identities, and multiracial students.
Alrighty, I don't know about y'all, but as of recently, I feel like this campus has had a certain kind of demeanor change, and I feel like that has a lot to do with everything going around right now. This episode, just for preface, is pre-recorded, so right now when this will be posted, it won't be election season anymore, but as of right now it is. Post-election time, and I feel like a lot of mental health here on campus has been a priority and also not a priority for some folks. How do you guys feel about that?
I think I agree with you. I think that mental health is not being prioritized as it should be, though. I don't know. It's kind of like backwards, because for some people this election season is terrifying, is going to cost them their lives, it's going to cost them the way that they live, and for other people, it's not. For other people, they don't have to think about this 24/7 or think about who was just elected as our president. They're actually happy. So it's just like, mental health in some aspects, especially as it relates to people of color or minority groups, is not necessarily on the forefront of what we're thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
What we're thinking about basically is survival. So like, especially like in my home, we weren't taught to like think about mental health. We weren't taught that mental health matters. We're taught to just, you cry about it, all right, now get back to work because nothing's gonna stop for you, type of thing. So I feel like that is the kind of vibe I'm getting from campus right now, that like a lot of students are hurt, a lot of students are scared, and yet we need to keep doing our classes. We need to keep doing our homework and go to class. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't think we're getting this space to just be like, I can't do this right now.
Feels like the world is ending, but Canvas posts due at 11:59.
Bro. Yes.
And the world kept spinning.
And the world kept spinning.
However, the world kept spinning with a bunch of people who are not okay in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And election season results can bring so much stress and tension and fear, and for a lot of us this is so much more than just political noise. It's about our lives, our families, and our communities, and in this episode we're going to talk about how this impacts our mental health and what we can do to take care of ourselves after everything that has happened.
All right, y'all. So, amidst the 2024 election, racist text messages that were first reported at the University of Alabama have been seen and reported here in our community following the 2024 election, which is now becoming a nationwide trend. We urge students to stay vigilant in their surroundings and report any and all incidents to the university. We offer resources and connections to the counseling center, and will do our utmost best to make sure your voice is heard.
End of the week after the election results. And this is something that has occurred, like,
Within 24 hours.
yeah, it hasn't even been 7 consecutive business days since we've had somebody elected into office. And this is the kind of response that is happening. And I think it's very, very telling of what's to come.
That's just that every time we have this conversation and every time I look at, social media and look at the news or whatever, I just get reminded how much disdain this country has for certain groups of people, how much this country wants to leave people behind. And it's just, it breaks my heart, because all I want to do is create a world where my brothers will be safe and my people will be free. And then again, it makes me think I just get really not paranoid, but paranoid. And I just get so anxious and scared. And then I remember I don't have any genuine healthy coping mechanisms, because I was never taught those. And now I'm just sitting here in my room wondering if my brothers are okay. You know what I mean?
And I think mental health, especially during a time like this, is something really important to talk about, because when it comes to this kind of information and this surge of extremism that we've been seeing, it feels really redundant and in your face and repetitive.
The things that we're politicking about should not be our rights. It should not be essentially our freedom. It should not be the point of winning should not be the cost is my body. The cost is my existence. You know what I mean? I don't know. This doesn't feel like politics. This honestly just is such a big loophole of internalized racism and just systematic racism. And it's how do we move forward in a system that's not broken, that's set the way that it's supposed to, when we're seeing people like this get into office and basically, what is the word I'm looking for? Just perpetuate the system. I don't know. Ugh.
And it's we're scared, and we're kind of we're placed in this position where we're being told not to be scared. But the same people who are telling me not to be scared haven't been scared even before. And they haven't had a reason to be scared before. Meanwhile, in my 20 years of living, I've had to be scared every single day. But I just can't show it. Because if I show it, then I'm just kind of over-exaggerating or something like that. Or I'm just, what's it called? I can't find the word for it right now. But I'm just, I guess over-exaggerating again. Sorry, I can't really think of the words right now. It's been a long week. But if I just, if I ignore the problem, basically, it will go away, in a sense. Or, someone is fighting for change, so you're fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I should be also contributing to the fight, but so should you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's we've been scared, and now we're just continually being scared and continuously being anxious, and it's just a lot.
I think I'm arguably more and more scared each election that has happened in my lifetime, because I'm older each time, so I just know more things and I understand more about the world and what's going on in our democracy and what is up for grabs with our legislators and policies. And right now is going to take a serious, serious, serious toll, in my opinion, on our young individuals right now, because this is a really scary rhetoric to be pushed out. The internet right now is insane, you guys. It's to the point where there are bot farms using AI-generated videos and audios of really extremist things that didn't even happen, that never happened, and they're being pushed out onto the internet and coming across people's algorithm. There are children out there in the world with unsupervised internet access, and it's really scary and unsafe and dangerous to me that there's children who are going to see this and grow up with this idea that this is normal or okay or how the world should be.
Yeah. And not to go back to those text messages and stuff, but those text messages with these really extreme messages are being sent to children who are 10 and up. So it's not just adults getting this and seeing these text messages being like, oh, this is a scam, this is fake or whatever. It's children who are like 9 and 10 who are seeing this and are like, oh my God, I'm literally going to get kidnapped from my home. We're terrifying our children so badly to the point where we can't even, our goal as young individuals, 20 and up or whatever, is to break generational curses, is to fight against generational trauma and racial trauma and try to get our families up out of this. If we're going to start at the root with 8 and 9 and 10-year-olds who have that unsupervised access, because even 6-year-olds have iPhone 16 Plus Maxes Ultras, it's just like we're terrifying our children, which is then terrifying our mothers, which is then making our fathers fight even harder in places that people don't want them in. So it's just like, how are families supposed to come up from this when our children from the very basis are terrified? It's just, it boggles my mind how easily it is to openly hate someone for simply existing in the house next to you. I don't understand that.
Right, and I think what has incited after the results that we got, I'm like just remembering the 2016 election. I remember I was in 8th grade when that happened. 13-year-olds are mean, you guys. 13-year-olds are mean, okay? And I remember just hearing I like think about all like the racially charged jokes or like comments I've heard in my life, and I'm like, wow, I should have been crashing out.
Yes.
And I remember the day after the 2016 election, I went to school, and me and all my other person of color classmates were hearing really insane like jokes and rhetoric about how we're all going to be deported and all this other stuff. I was like, first of all, I was born in this country, thank you.
Thank you. You my flowers.
But now seeing what has incited after all the people that were that age during that election and are now this age during the 2024 election, it's like everybody that has upheld those really extremist ideals scare me. I'm really scared because we're going to evolve into the true final form someday, and I think it's going to look seriously oppressive.
Seriously.
And not even little things like that. I was reading up from Mental Health America. Sorry, guys. Got the A wrong. Mental Health America. And they were giving some definitions about, like, different types of racial stigmas that people of color face that follow them on a day-to-day basis. So this is pre-election and post-election, obviously. But what you kind of described to me was, described to the audience, hello, related a lot to racial trauma, which is the traumatization that results from experiencing racism in any and many forms. But most importantly, it doesn't stem from just one major isolated event, but rather the accumulation of micro and macro level events. And the thing is, like, this happened in 2016, and to whoever said, like, to the many people that have said that to not just you, but to every other person of color out there, like, to them, they're walking around not remembering that event.
At all.
But we sit here, and we remember, and it builds up, because every single day, that is our struggle. And then that makes us walk on eggshells around every single person, because we have to, like, expect for them to say something like that. And then when they don't, we have a sigh of relief, but then we're just waiting for the next time that someone will say that to us again.
And I feel like, for me personally, it's kind of made me go around with that narrative of, like, people who identify with certain ideals or beliefs or values, even if you don't do anything to clearly communicate to me anything extremist or bigoted or whatever, I still feel that you personally, deep down inside, have those values instilled in you, and you walk around and you live them if you aren't actively trying to educate yourself on what has happened and what you have partaken in.
Earlier, I had mentioned systematic racism and just racism in general, and then I wanted to follow up with the term you just gave to give the definition of that as well. And so when I think, I say this because, like, I feel like racial trauma and systematic racism go hand in hand, obviously, because it does. But it's just like when we realize one, we were not realizing the other. I don't know. I see that with a lot of older people of color. But systematic racism is racism that has three components: history, culture, and institutions/policies. And all of these components create the framework for current racism, which then in turn, perpetuates racial trauma. And so, like, earlier when I mentioned that our goal mostly as young individuals is to break the generational curses and to fight against racial trauma, I don't know how prevalent our success would be because of how instilled racial trauma is through all of the micro levels. Because, like we talked about, last episode, microaggressions are every day and they're so apparent. And it's like, it's almost to the point where you can't even call them micro.
They have a macro impact.
Exactly.
I remember Donna saying that.
Exactly.
Wait. And okay, I have something that I wanted to ask you guys, because you were talking about how what you were talking about reminded me of this. Like, when do you guys, like, I think I can recall the age that I, like, learned about racism and hate. I think I can recall that age. I was definitely between, like, 6 and 7, I would say, when I noticed, like, oh my God, you guys are hateful. Like, I just heard something and I thought that. And looking back on it, I can't really recall or remember my world, without bigotry, extremism, or racism somehow crossing lines with me. Do you guys have, like, an age where you can recall, like, specifically learning about that? Or was it just always, like, a continuous, like, you kind of just gained consciousness one day and, like, knew that?
Well, for me, I love my family down, but I'd be remiss to say that they didn't play a big part in me understanding what racism was. I am half black and half Filipino, but I didn't get to grow up with my black side. I had the I still, like, am very happy because I got to know at least one side of my culture, but I did that at a cost. You know what I mean? I can't say that I knew what hatred was, and I can't say that I knew exactly, I could pinpoint the word, you know what I mean? But I could pinpoint the feeling, and I could remember that feeling being carried out ever since, and it started out with my hair. That's at least the first time that I remember it clearly, because I was 4, and I was just running around the house with my curly hair, but no one knows how to take care of it, so you could just imagine what a curly-haired little Donna looked like running around the house like, but I just woke up from my slumber. It's 9 in the morning on a Sunday. I'm not worried about doing my hair. I wasn't even going to church that day. And I'm running around, and then all the adults, they're saying bruja, which means witch, in the Tagalog language.
That also means witch in Spanish.
Yeah, Spain conquered both of us.
I know. I think about that sometimes because there's random little, like, words that I hear in that language. Yeah. And I'm like, twin.
Twin. But they're saying that, and then the thing is, no family member of mine still acknowledges that I understand Tagalog. I can't speak it very fluently, but I can understand it very well. And so when they said that, I was like, who are you calling a witch? And they're like, you, look at your hair. And I was like, okay. They're just being funny until I straightened my hair, like, 6 months later for the very first time. And they said, oh my gosh, you look normal. Like, you look good. You look normal. So I straightened my hair every day after that for the next 10 years. And I just, that was the first time that I, like, was able to, really take in what they were trying to say about me. But, like, it started becoming more apparent in my everyday life after that as to how also other people saw me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think once you gain, like, consciousness about it, you see it every single time it happens, to the point where it's literally, like, haunting you.
Yeah.
Literally. Count that. Ever since I was born, we've been dealing with systemic racism that has cost us our family members, that have costed my mom her mental health, that has costed my family's, like, physical health and well-being. And so racism and hatred and that bigotry has been a part of my life since I physically came out of my mom. So it's just like, I think one day I just became conscious, though. But I feel like I became conscious too late because of the way that I did. So I feel like I tried to like become conscious when I was younger, but it didn't really work because I really had a lot of internalized racism. Like I did the same thing. I straightened my hair every day. I was getting bullied so bad. So like that, but it was like in that election time when that extremism was coming out in my classmates, and I was talking physically getting abused by people in the classroom, and the teachers never cared. So it's just like, from that point, I knew that nothing I did mattered ever. But then when I got to high school and I met these two girls, shout out to them, love them down to this day. They were like, girl, one, you're a girl. Two, you're black, so be yourself. And I don't know, they took me under their wing the entire year, so I got to experience them in all their forms. And I think that to me is what saved me, for real. So I feel like becoming fully conscious, I was like 16. I was like 16. And I think that was so embarrassing. But when I was younger, the first time I ever had to talk, which, let me preface this, the talk is not about the birds and the bees. It's about how you get home safe after being attacked. That's what that is. And we have that talk continuously every year with my brothers. Because while I'm awake and I talk to my parents about what I've experienced since waking up, my brothers still aren't. My youngest brother, he just turned 16, and he lets other types of people call him out his name in one of the worst ways. I'm talking not like hard R. I'm talking like he's okay with that because he thinks they're his friends and it's fun. But then with the election that happened recently, his friends are changing up how they feel about him, and I don't know how to explain to him that you're perfect the way you are, type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of heavy, but like I just really want my brothers to understand that there are so many different forms of who you are, and you can be all of those things without sacrificing any part of yourself
Right.
for respect from your peers.
Right.
But yeah, that's my little story.
Thank you for sharing.
Stop it. Thank you. I feel like these conversations are super important because we don't, as people of color, we don't have people that are constantly like, oh, your feelings matter. We see you. You're here, and we want you to be here. I feel like people don't think that we're capable of feeling pain or misery still, and that's the biggest thing to me. Is just like, well, if I cut you and you cut me, we bleed the same color.
There's people who literally are walking around right now who are just like, yeah, racism doesn't exist. Like, they have no clue about what's going on like a macro, institutional, systematic scale.
Yes.
And that, it kind of fascinates me, but it kind of
Yes.
horrifies me because I'm, on both sides, I'm like, what kind of life do you live to the point where you are just completely surrounded by so much, I guess, privilege that you have no clue about any of these issues going on?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested.
Some of them are just in denial. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
also, these people that you're talking about, we kind of can allude to what group they fall into.
Yeah.
And so then, I don't know, there's not a new term, but a term that we hear a lot, which is reverse racism, which is a term that holds no value and was created by white people to deny their privilege in all forms, which is basically just trying to say that we're all equal.
Right.
It's another way of saying that, like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And it very much invalidates the person of color experience and everything that we've been doing to try to get ourselves even a foot away from the room where it happens.
Yes.
Thank you, Hamilton.
Come on.
And the thing about reverse racism, white people, Europeans, have never been historically oppressed. They've never ever, in any history book that you've ever read about colonization, they're the ones doing the colonizing.
Literally.
So I'm like, you guys are not a historically oppressed or marginalized group where you can come up and say, these are the struggles of my people and my ancestors
Yeah.
and where I come from, and like, it just doesn't make sense. The terms aren't going hand in hand there. You know what I mean? The terms and the history isn't adding up.
Which is why when you hear reverse racism, just know
Shut that down.
It's not real.
Shut it down.
honestly. But, you know, here at the deck, we do our best to, to uphold our core values and our pillars and stuff. And one of those core values is sustaining ourselves in joy and being there for one another and seeking community. So I just want to preface this again by saying the DEC does offer Thriving QFAM as a great way to support your community amidst the complexities occurring in our world right now, as well as our other campus organizations such as MECHA, BSU, JSA, PISA, FASA, ASA, and LSO, which are all Equity Service Council organizations that operate here on this campus. They're great ways to connect with each other, to understand cross-cultural connections, and to build those connections. So again, y'all, please look out for each other, and please try to build community where it matters. I just want to say that, y'all.
Period. Thank you.
Of course. But, like, in my opinion, when I hear reverse racism, reverse racism, I just hear a whole lot of this. A whole lot of wah, 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 wah. You're yapping. Shut it down. Shut up.
Like Charlie Brown when his parents talk.
Exactly. That's what it sounds like. You're not speaking no real words. Because who are you saying? You're only saying that in rebuttal to the African American, the person of color experience. You're only saying that to rebuttal the fact that your family members back 100 years were murdering mine. So it's just like, you're not talking about you encountering prejudice as just a Caucasian person from another person. You're saying that because we're racist, you guys can also be racist too, so therefore racism cancels each other out and therefore does not matter. That's what reverse racism is. And it's like, but I had this conversation with my cousin, shout out you, and we're talking about if we could press a button and reverse the roles, would you do it? And it became this whole conversation that had nothing to do with the fact that people die and are continuously dying every day.
Yeah.
But to shut down my argument of I should be treated like a person.
See, that's my thing, bro. Okay, and here's another thing that I really want to point out. After the results we have received this week, a very important thing I'm trying to implement in my life is practicing mindful disengagement. If we feel that the conversation is invalidating our experiences, coming off as hateful, or negatively impacting our mental health, it is okay to set boundaries or take a step back. And a big part of being able to do this for me is understand that sometimes you are talking to a brick wall.
Yes.
I have surprisingly not encountered anyone who has been willing to argue with me. If anything, people have come up to me because they have been arguing with someone, and they've said, hey, I know you have the facts, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't know how to argue this correctly. Could you help me so that way when I argue again, that I can actually, like, bring out the facts and bring out, like, why this shouldn't be happening and, like, not why we feel this way, but, like, the details that, like, they keep asking for, but that I just don't understand and how it works. And so that's kind of where I've been at. But in a way, like, the way I also see that is I've only really mourned this election for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as it started happening, I did much more research on what this will entail for the future.
Right.
Because, like, we can't go back. I can't keep not dwelling, but I can't keep thinking about what could have been, because that's just not where we're at right now. So the only way that I could sustain myself in, not joy, but in sanity, is researching as much as I can. And honestly, like, it makes me want to be more involved in at least our, oh my goodness, I forgot what it's called, but our lobbyist group for like, students at, like, for students of higher education, or just students of education, period, because apparently we don't have very many representatives. I want to be more involved. I want to be more educated, and I am doing that every single night by literally looking up everything I possibly can, looking up different sources, not just reading the titles. Saw a couple of that on social media, and I would like to tell you guys right now, the same people that I saw underlining the titles, I read those articles. You are not right. Context is everything, and because context is everything, please see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Do not just go based off of if someone can't answer you to the point where, like, they understand fully, go research it yourself. You guys, you have a phone. You go on TikTok. Go on Safari instead.
Right.
Go on Google.
Right.
I think for me, like, mindful disengagement definitely entails, like, I feel like there's been a lot of situations where I'm literally just living my life, like, not even really, like, saying much about, like, anything regarding that kind of stuff. And then, like, somebody will happen to just, like, bring it up or, like, ask me about it, and we can be 2 to 3 sentences in, and I will just know this is not a conversation that I want to have. Because, again, as a woman of color, it is not my responsibility to educate you, nor am I going to entertain the idea that you think that you're going to beat me or something, because this isn't about, like, who's right or wrong. It's about what's going on and the truth of the policies that we're about to see.
Exactly.
The only way that really we can stay united right now is if we all just do our part and, like you said, like, know what these policies are.
Right.
That's the only way that we can stay united. Because if we all have different information, what do you think that's going to do?
Right.
Like, that's going to make different sides for no reason. And all this false information that we're seeing on social media floating around, some of it is true, but again, do your research so you can understand what's real and what's not. If you really want to, like, there's this thing, and so, like, that I've been seeing a lot of, like, just because you're mad at the results or happy with the results doesn't mean you can't be respectful, da-da-da-da. I was like, okay. Again, respect goes both ways.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
So do your part and do the research so that way you both can come to an understanding of what is actually going on instead of what you think is going on.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that we can even have a united nation, period.
And I think it's just crazy for people to talk about respect as if we haven't been playing respectability politics for 500 years. Like,
As people of color.
exactly. It doesn't, like, your respect means absolutely nothing to me. It means absolutely nothing to me. I don't, with the way that the world literally is trying to dismantle our communities, I don't feel like I need to respect you, period. It's just like, I'm not going to go out of my way to disrespect you and to be physically harmful and just be aggressive, because that's the type of person I am. But at the end of the day, I have to constantly worry about my survival. I've not gotten to live my life as a 20-year-old, period. I've been surviving as a 20-year-old. I've been surviving for my family. So it's just like, we're in a constant state of, all right, am I safe? Am I going to make it home? Am I going to have food to eat at home? That I've never been, like, comfortable. So for me to always, I give respect to everybody, but for me to always have to walk on, like we said earlier, eggshells to get some sort of comfortability in your spaces, I don't have the energy or the compassion to do that anymore. I don't have the want to be accepted in the spaces where I'm clearly not wanted, because now I don't even want to be there anymore. So it's just like, how do we get to move forward and continue this work of advocating and representing people when our representatives are being shot? You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, that gave me chills, dude. That was awesome. That was so good.
Thank you. Well, okay. Back to social media stuff, and I actually did not know that the AI stuff was being generated and pushed out like that. But also, like, I was watching another video, and honestly, or no, I
I saw it
watching
in the
a video.
news. I saw the news talking about it.
Period. Damn.
And here's what's crazy. Is that it's kind of coming from both sides. My personal
gosh.
favorite.
Oh, gosh.
My personal favorite that I saw was oh my god, you guys, this is like so ridiculous. It was this fake video of a bunch of, I think it was Haitian immigrants in somewhere in the Midwest or something, and it's a video of Haitian immigrants, like a bus full of them, and he's basically like, pull up to America, we're going to get you an ID, come vote for Kamala Harris. We've all voted a bunch of times. Like, they were talking about how many times they voted and how they were, like, committing this fraud, essentially, for the Democratic Party. And they were all immigrants, and they were inviting a bunch of other immigrants to this country to come do election fraud with them. This video is fake and AI generated, and it was inciting some insane engagement on a very extremist conservative side of social media, because they believed it. And they were like, oh my God, no, all the immigrants are coming here illegally to vote for Kamala Harris. Dang it.
And this is where the research happened.
Exactly.
This is where, like, I'm sorry, but in a time right now, I'm going to be heavy on the research.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please be heavy on the research.
Unless, like, I always assume so many things are AI. I always have to assume that so many things are AI because it's getting to a point where it's, dude, when you search up on Google, just random things, it gives you the AI. Search first.
Bro, literally, like, there needs to be some type of, like,
we need a regulation
rules.
on
yes,
that.
regulation.
I don't know if, yeah. I don't know if we need that on all of our Google engines right now.
Exactly, because the more and more
period.
the more and more we get into this extremist time, we're gonna see more and more rage baiting and more
Laziness of research.
exactly, and less critical thinking, less Google scholars.
We're already in this time period where we're not very good critical thinkers. And
Right. Oh
my
sue
gosh.
me, because I'm right.
Bro, don't even sue Donna because half of the people who are under 10 cannot read. So it's just
Or
like
write correctly.
exactly, like where is this country finna go with uneducated people? We've seen where it came from uneducated people. It's going right back. If you do not learn your history, you are bound to repeat it. And what are we doing right now? Children literally cannot read or write.
Also, they're changing the way that they... Sorry, this is so random. Teacher standpoint. They're
Period.
changing the way that they teach phonetics.
Yeah, apparently they don't get
Phonetics?
Yeah, you know, like they make you read the word and then
Yeah.
it's like spelled out super weird and like you sound it out.
Yeah.
They're not. Apparently they don't make them do that anymore.
Yeah.
And that outrages me a lot because I feel like especially when you have children who are living in a two-language household from a different ethnic origin,
Yes.
from a different country, this is a crucial skill to understanding the English language, essentially.
Literally. That's low-key. I was terrible at spelling in school, and the only way I literally could, like, read and stuff is when my teacher would do that for me. And, like, they would, like, I remember this one time, my teacher took, like, one page of the book we were reading and made it, or this was, like, when we were first learning. I don't know. And when we were, and made the entire thing like that. And we read it that way. And then she spelled out each of the words, and we sounded it out and worked in table partners and stuff. So it's just, like, we already can't write in cursive. As like 20-something year old.
I
can't
can write.
Did you
I
guys
can't
learn
write
cursive?
cursive.
Did you guys learn cursive?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Really?
Me?
What did you learn cursive at?
My school.
Okay, fair.
Elementary. I remember I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade when they were teaching us cursive, and then literally halfway through the year or something, they were like, actually, we're not supposed to do that anymore. Like, we don't have to. And I was like, slay, because I was having a really hard time. Like, at first it started with the cursive, and then it kind of translated to like, oh, some people are losing like, I don't know how to explain, like the fine motor skill, like your ability to do something like very intricately with like a lot of complexity and stuff. And now it's going on to the phonetics, bro. And now people are losing their ability to read, and it's like it's this whole tumbling down of critical thinking and education and everything that we learned in school. Literally.
The thing with I'm stuck on the cursive thing. My mom is someone who got her degree in teaching in the Philippines, but wasn't able to use it here because it's not accepted here. So she's not a teacher, but she raised me as if she was my teacher. So she was very adamant that I would learn cursive. And in 6th grade, we did learn cursive. So by the time we got to 6th grade, I had one of the best cursive in the class.
Period.
But
Period.
I actually like not just the fact that like the fine motor skills. I feel like it's very important to learn cursive because a lot of history documents write in cursive. So it's like,
bro.
Literally. And, like, also, like, people can't sign their names, like, on documents and stuff. Like, I've seen...
doing strict scribbles.
Yes, literally. it's like a swoop, and then let's just do.
It's like the first letter,
Literally.
I know, I got
literally.
cooked for my signature the other day because it's literally just like an M, and then like that's it.
Kaboom.
Like, it's literally just like one scribble.
Literally. But, I don't know, y'all. Right now, if I had to rate where we're at, thumbs down.
I really, really, really want to like implement the like a different country's perspective on
Yes.
us right now. Like I kind of wish I was a Canadian right now. So because that way I would have like an almost unbiased and like an unbiased opinion on like what's going on Participating in social justice can be difficult emotionally, mentally, and socially when it comes to interacting with other people. This past election was very deep and personal for the nation, and it is essential that we keep this in mind going forward. Systematic change is going to take us a long, long time, and taking time to care for our mental health is just as important as being an agent of change.
Yes. And we also need to realize that, like Maya said, change will come in a long time, but sometimes the revolution will start with simply just a conversation.
Thank you guys for keeping it real with us today. My name is Maya.
And I'm Sade.
And I'm Donna.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.